What's up guys and welcome back to another episode of Career Mode. This is episode number 50 and today we are returning with a 30-minute thank you special for hitting 50 episodes in the save. If this is the first Career Mode save of mine you've watched, then basically every time I hit 50 or 100 episodes in a series I do a special thank you episode, normally around 30 minutes, just to show my appreciation for all the love, all the support on the series from you guys so far. This one no exception, and yeah, I really hope you guys enjoy it. So 30-minute episode today, we got 10 games. And there's a couple of really interesting games. There's a couple of amazing goals. There's late drama. I really hope you enjoy it. 10 games today, and yeah, it's been a good save so far. You know, I'm really enjoying it. Obviously, this is our 4th season now. We're getting through it quite quickly, I must say. Obviously, you know, for those that haven't seen it yet, I just began a new career mode save on Monday night. That is a my player. Yep, my first player career mode in years, and you guys are showing some great love on that, so I really appreciate it. But I'm still, of course, going to be uploading this save daily. No doubt about it. It still remains my daily save with quadruple uploads on the weekends, and the support has been good. You know, I really appreciate it from you guys, because you know, starting this save off this season, Nottingham Forest, obviously, you know, one of the weaker teams in the division. You know, season 1 was a really tough year, of course. But obviously, you know, since then we've picked it up a lot. We're now in the Champions League. It's season 4. This year, I'm hoping we can win our second major honour of the save after winning the Europa League last year. I guess we'll have to wait and see. But it's been a good save. You know, I really enjoyed it, and long may it continue. So yeah, 10 games today, and I hope you guys enjoy what I've got in store for you. So we're beginning on the back of our loss to Crystal Palace, where we were 2-0 up at the City ground, and I bottled it and lost 4-2 with Brentford away at the Community Stadium in West London. Obviously, I talk about it a lot. You know, if you want to win the title, you've got to be consistent. You can't just win a game, then drop points, then win a game, then win maybe one more, and then drop points again. You got to be consistent to win the championship. Everyone knows that. So taking on the Bees, had to get back to winning ways here, and well, what a perfect first half. Ivan Toney scoring our opener. I swear to God, every single time we face Brentford, this guy scores. He opens the scoring. Brennan gets our second, and then right before the break, Fred the Red makes it 3 and wraps it up before half time. 3-0 victory there, and closed the game out in the second half, really just passing the ball around and conserving energy for the game on the weekend against West Brom, as that came on Wednesday night. Also, real briefly, guys, I want to say very quickly, I had 2 teeth extracted this morning. I tried to do this commentary about an hour after it, and I realised the anaesthetic had not worn off completely, so if I do sound a little bit different, then the anaesthetic clearly hasn't gone all together yet, but it was so funny. I should have carried on doing it, really, because I just sounded ridiculous. But anyway, yeah, if I'm not sounding like at my normal audio today, that's because of my anaesthetic not wearing off. But anyway, yeah, following game was West Brom, so conserved energy in that second half there against Brentford. And you know, I've got to say, you know, I don't give tips very often, because as I will often say, I don't consider myself to be a very good FIFA player. I think I'm average, maybe slightly above average, but nowadays you see the pros play. You that's why I'll never consider myself a good player when you watch the esports players in FIFA. But one tip I'll always give is game management is just so important. It really is. And you know, it's all about remembering what's coming next. You know, what game you've got next, when it is, who it's against. You know, and thinking about your lineup for the following game when you're going into the current one. That to me has been a really big factor of my saves, because you know, my selections, perhaps some of you guys might point it out or see this, you know, my selections at times can be, you know, quite strange in some ways. You know, you'd often see some fringe players come off the bench instead of, you know, what would be my normal subs bench. And the reason why is because if I'm leading a game and I'm like 2-0 up, there's no point in, you know, wasting the energy of, you know, one of my first team starters, want to play a backup player in a few days' time. Case in point for our following game here, taking on West Brom on the weekend. Now, on Wednesday night, obviously we faced Brentford. We were 3-0 up at half time, and we were dominating. So at the break, I thought, well, I'm not going to bring on Scott McTominay, because I want him to start on the weekend ahead of Ali Mazrati, because my Libyan midfielder will be too tired for this one. So I thought this way, McTominay will have 100% fitness, 100% stamina. He won't be one bit tired for the following game. And in the end, he was sublime, got a goal and an assist as well. If you're leading a game and you're in complete control at half-time, say you've got a game in 3 days' time, honestly, empty the bench. Empty the bench. I really do believe it's a great way to conserve energy from your starters or even your backup players who might get a game in the following one. empty the bench, man. You've got the job done. And again, game management, it's really, really important. Think about what's coming next and when it's coming as well. You know, obviously we talk about rest and rotation a lot. And in modern day football, it's never been more important. As we know, games come thick and fast when you're playing in the top tier. And obviously you've got the FA Cup, the EFL Cup, and if you're in Europe, a European competition as well. And even, well, to be fair, even nowadays in the Football League, you know, you've got 46 games in the Championship plus the domestic cups, and then in League One and League Two, well, if you're watching my player save right now, you know my frustration with it. You got 46 league games, 2 domestic cups, and the Papa John's Trophy as well. There's so many games to squeeze in, so rest and rotation is really, really important. I genuinely believe this. It is way better to have a player with 100% energy, 100% fitness, 100% stamina, who is, I don't know, maybe like 2, 3, 4 ratings lower than someone with 75% energy. I really, really do believe that. Energy is so, so important, and it's really, really crucial to make sure your players are fit and fresh and raring to go. So, following game on the back of the back-to-back wins against Brentford and West Brom, back-to-back victories and back-to-back clean sheets now away against Southampton, taking on Ralph Hasenhüttl's side. Well, once again, it was a first half where I was just absolutely dominating. It was such a similar game to the Brentford one as well. We were 3-0 up at the break, absolutely in control. Lovro was having a stormer in this game as well. We were 3-0 up, and at half-time again, did the same sort of thing, really. You know, we had a game against Manchester City on New Year's Eve. This game came on the 27th of December, so I thought, empty the bench. My job's done. Empty the bench. Bring on a few fringe players ahead of that Man City clash there. Whilst we might have lost our clean sheet, got the win. That was the most important thing. And we get 3 straight wins to bounce back from our loss to Crystal Palace. So, as we take a look at the league table, 19 games in, official halfway point of the season now. We are currently 3 points behind Manchester City. And we've got a better goal difference record as well, meaning if we would beat Man City at the Etihad, we will go top heading into the new calendar year. But it's looking like a three-horse title race right now. It's so funny because we started the season off and it was like all of the top 7 were really, really close. Only a few points. I think it was like 6 points separating the top 7. But now, Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool, they've all fallen off the pace, really. They've all fallen off the pace completely. So now it's become a three-horse title race so quickly. Half the season in as Haaland is winning the Golden Boot race as things stand. Tony top of the assist charts right now, and Henderson looking to retain that Golden Glove for a 3rd straight year. But it's really interesting because, you know, this is what I talk about a lot. Form is just so OP in FIFA career mode, and it's why, despite the fact we are where we are right now in 2nd place, 3 points behind Manchester City, well, they lost 2 of their last 3 games. And, you know, I mentioned in a recent episode, if you let one of the big boys get away, you might not catch them. But when they slip up once, you might find they'll slip up a 2nd and a 3rd time in 4 or 5 games, because form in career mode is just so OP. Player career mode, manager career mode, whichever one, it's the same for both. Form is so OP, and it's something I really do think EA need to look at. Man City, as we know, is just absolutely unbelievable team, obviously, but 2 defeats in their last 3 games. Now welcome us here to New Year's Eve fixture at the Etihad Stadium. Obviously, it's not, you know, beyond the realms of possibility for that to happen. Of course, it might happen every now and then, but I talk about it a lot. You know, when you get going, you look unstoppable. But when an AI team starts struggling, they drop off the pace quickly. You know, that's why this title race has gone from being like 6 or 7 teams to 3 in just a few weeks' time. I really feel form is something which should be in the game because it's real. It's a realistic thing. Form should be in the game, but EA need to look at it because for a few years now, it's just been far too OP. How many times have you seen a team lose like 5 games out of 7? And a big team as well, like one of the traditional top 6, for example. It's a bit too OP, in my opinion. Anyway, following game, yeah, New Year's Eve, Manchester City away at the Etihad Stadium. Massive game here in the reverse fixture. We beat them in the Ivan Toney versus Erling Haaland battle. Absolutely brilliant game that was, as Toney bagged the hat-trick. Ivan Toney's on absolute flames right now, man. Seriously, another goal for the Shocker as he opens the scoring. He got the better of Haaland in the first fixture against Man City. Could do it again. Well, on the other end, Henderson made a great save there, keeping the Scandinavian striker out. We still lead by a goal, and 6 minutes after the restart. Fast starts are so important in the second half. I talk about this often, man. When you get out of the blocks in the second half, if it's a close game, a tight game, or you're trailing or only leading by 1, go at the AI. go at them straight away, and I got very lucky for this goal as well. I was wondering how Ederson didn't save this shot, firstly from Curtis Jones, and there's your answer on the replay. It clips off the shoulder of Ruben Diaz and beats the Brazilian. For a goalkeeper of Ederson's quality, when Jones volleyed that in, I was like, how did he not save that? But then I looked at it and I realised it was deflection. So I'll take the little bit of luck there as we go 2-0 up. Erling Haaland would get Man City back in the game a few minutes later there. That was a run reminiscent of R9. Yes, the Brazilian Ronaldo. That was unbelievable there. For those who watch Ronaldo, and I mean the original Ronaldo, R9, playing his prime, you'll know what I'm referencing there with that sort of run. Ronaldo had this way of doing things, you know, whether it was for Real Madrid or Barcelona or PSV or whoever, where the guy literally bulldozed his way through. He had this incredible ability to show power, strength, and pace, agility, and balance all in one sweeping motion to get away from defenders there. That goal really reminded me of an old school R9 goal, but thankfully, whilst Haaland did get Man City back in the game, half the deficit, we held on for the 2-1 victory. So we beat Manchester City back to back. It was a really tight game, to be fair, though. Very, very even. Could have gone either way. Came down to who was more clinical. In the end, that proved to be us. So, yeah, big win there. 4 straight for Nottingham Forest. But 3 defeats in 4 for Manchester City as we go top of the table to close out December. Talk about it all the time, man. Form is so OP. It's something which should be in the game, yes, but EA do need to tone it down a little bit because at times it's just a little bit too unrealistic. But still, I'm not going to take the win there for granted. We go top of the table for the first time this season. I said this year, you know, we don't need to win the title. The board have said to us finish in the top 4. That's my aim as well, but I want to be in a proper title race. Last season, we weren't. Let's just be honest, we weren't. I mean, Manchester United won it last season, but we were never really in a title race. Even when we cut it to like 6 points, we were never really in a title race, to be fair. But this year, we are in it, and we're top heading into January. See our fixtures here. The Red Devils, West Brom, Leicester as well, coming this month, including Burton Albion in the FA Cup 3rd round as well. So, yeah, heading to the first game of January and the 4th of today's episode here, taking on Manchester United. Well, starting the season off, we've only lost a couple of times in the Premier League, but one of those defeats was away at Old Trafford against the champions in the save. So this was going to be a big one. Just came through a physically tiring game in that win at the Etihad. How would we respond in this one? Missing Ivan Toney, he went down with a bruise in that victory at the Etihad Stadium. So Taiwo would start this game against the Red Devils. My top scorer, my talisman, my guy is out. We're tired. Only a few days rest after that Man City victory. How do we cope against the champions who beat us in the reverse fixture? Well, heading into the game, 6 minutes in, looking for the perfect start. Curtis Jones finds Diaby, tackled, back to Taiwo, Chance remains alive, and oh my god, where has this guy come from? Curtis Jones on absolute flames, mate. It's ridiculous, honestly. We brought him in, and when I signed him back start of last season from Brentford, I was like, yeah, he'll do a job, I suppose, right now. He'll do okay for us. He'll take the next step. I'm not expecting fireworks. Oh my god, this season he's been unbelievable. 12 goals in 21 games. My second highest scorer this season behind the shocker. He has been unbelievable. Forest 1, Manchester United 0, and oh yes, 24 minutes in. I said there were a couple of nice goals in today's episode. Wow, a Rabona assist from our star when Toney is out. Curtis Jones flicks it through to Taiwo, in for the injured Toney, who makes it 2-0. And then with 7 minutes to go, Diaby finds Curtis. He said, well, I've done it once, so why not do it twice? Oh, magic. Absolute magic. And it's so funny because I accidentally skipped over the replay for the first Curtis Jones assist there for our second goal. I was like, oh man, we should have had the replay for that, but managed to pull it off for a second time there. Diaby into Curtis Jones. Look at that. That is naughty. You best believe in my player save. I'll be trying to do that in probably half the games I play. Yeah, 3-0 Nottingham Forest at the break. Brennan gets our 3rd goal. He, Curtis and Taiwo giving us a 3-goal lead at the break. And in the second half, well, I talked about the importance of starting second half off strong, being really aggressive against the AI right from the get-go, and that is exactly what I'm talking about. 5 minutes after the break, Moussa Diaby, the £100 million man, makes it 4-0, and then 8 minutes later, a chance to go 5-0 up. Brennan Johnson tries to roll it across, blocks, but Taiwo wins it back on Majral. He was waiting way too long. Ball watching, wins it back, gets it back, puts it in the back of the net for his second goal. Yep, Taiwo clips it in off the post. 58 minutes in, Nottingham Forest 5, Manchester United 0. Yep, Ivan Toney wasn't even playing, and we were absolutely dominating the champions. Now, I would lose my clean sheet with 90 minutes to go, trying to pass out from the back. How many goals have you conceded? Saw me concede this season trying to pass out from the back and getting it wrong. But I do mention it. I'm kind of pleased to see it now because it does make it harder to play out from the back and presses are a lot more intense. But lost my clean sheet, but restored the 5-goal cushion a few minutes later. Musa Diaby gets a quick fire double and makes it 6-1. Nottingham Forest, my best win of the save so far, no doubt about it. And there was still time in stoppage time to try and get Diaby a hat-trick, which he would through some absolutely shocking defending from David Alaba. Yep, 3 goals in this game came through the way of high presses, and it's great. It's great that this is now in the game now from EA. You know, it's all about putting pressure on your opponents nowadays at the elite level, playing a really intense press. And in, you know, the past couple of FIFAs, the AI would just pass the ball out with no problems whatsoever. But now, well, it's great. It's great to put them under pressure and actually feel like they can't just pass the ball around you like they're prime Barcelona back in the Pep Guardiola era. No, it's way, way, way better now, both conceding and scoring a lot of goals from high presses. Diaby robs David Alaba, makes it 7-1 and picks up the match ball with a second half hat-trick. Nottingham Forest 7, Manchester United 1. I'll repeat that. Nottingham Forest 7, Manchester United 1. So there was me thinking, how am I going to cope heading into that game without the shocker, without Toney, down through injury, and we've just came on the back of a really physically demanding game at the Etihad Stadium. Nottingham Forest, alright, I'll stop saying it now, but seriously, what a win! Unbelievable, and no doubt about it, man, my best win of the save so far, and I was buzzing to get it in the special episode number 50 as well. Whenever I do these episodes, whenever I make these special thank yous, I'm always like, oh, please let me do something cool, like a scorpion kick goal, or a, you know, a thriller of some kind, or like my best win ever, or something. Every time I do a special thank you episode, I want to make sure at least one of the games, or 2 or 3 of the games if I can, are really, really awesome. That's all I needed there. That was an amazing, amazing game, and my best win of the save so far. 7-1 against the defending champions without Ivan Toney. That's the biggest shock of all. Even so, following game, well, we beat Man City 2-1 at the Etihad, we thrashed the Red Devils 7-1, and we could only get past lower league Burton Albion by a goal to nil in the FA Cup third round. Yeah, following week, Burton Albion in the FA Cup third round. My God, I was very lucky in that game there. Keeps, to be fair, was on fire. Made a couple of brilliant saves in the first half, pushing the ball onto the frame of the goal. As we were still dead up at 0-0, thankfully, Dominic Solanke finally found the goal, and the only goal we needed in the end to give us the win. You would have seen it as well. Gazza made a really great save in that game too, as we held on for a 1-0 victory. So, not quite as dominant as the 7-1 victory against the Red Devils, but I say it all the time, man. Football is a funny old game, you know, seriously. And as we know, sometimes in FIFA career mode, the hardest games are the ones you expect to be the easiest, and the easiest games are the ones you expect to be the hardest. You know, thrash Manchester United for my best win of the save, and then Burton Albion at home in the lower leagues, we only get past them by a goal to nil. Yeah, that at times is FIFA career mode in a nutshell. Regardless, following that, as you could see, we had a draw for the 4th round. It is Watford taking on another side outside the Premier League there, facing the Championship side. Can I just say, I'm gutted that Rob Edwards got the sack there at Watford. You know, I know quite a few Watford fans that follow me, and believe me, fellow Hornets, like I saw the frustration when Rob Edwards was sacked so early on into the season. And don't get me wrong, you know, Slaven Bilic has more pedigree, and we'll see what we can do with the Hornets this year. I'd love to see Watford have an instant return to the Premier League, don't get me wrong. I've been to Vicarage Road a couple of times, but it's the same problem with Watford all the time, isn't it? Like, it really is. It's like, how do you expect a team to gel and grow as a unit together and fans to really connect with a squad if the team is constantly changing, there's little identity to it? And what have you had, like 9 managers in the past 8 years? That's not even an exaggeration. That might even be less than you've had. It's ludicrous. I feel so sorry for the fans, man. I really do, because, you know, Watford are a great club. They really are. Fantastic history there. Vicarage Road, nice ground as well. But I feel sorry for the fans because in this modern era over the past decade, like, the amount of change at that team and the chopping and changing is unbelievable. I was so excited for this season, Watford. I really was. I thought they were going to do a proper rebuild this year. They sold they released so many players. So many players left the squad in the summer permanently, either being released or sold or whatever. And they brought in a few decent youngsters, yes, but I really thought Rob Edwards coming in from Forest Green Rovers, obviously got them up to League One last season. I genuinely thought he was going to get given some really good time to build something there at Vicarage Road. How long did he last? 3 months? Ludicrous. I was so frustrated. I felt so sorry for my Hornets fans as well because, honestly, man, it's the same thing over and over and over again. And, you know, it's one of the reasons why Watford fans are so frustrated. I'm sure Hornets can take losing occasion. I'm sure Hornets could take, 3 or 4 seasons in the Championship if they got a together, cohesive unit. You can't really do that when you're constantly chopping and changing the manager. 3 in a season at times? It's ludicrous. Anyway, following game, West Brom away at the Hawthorns. Talking of size in the Championship right now in the Premier League, but in the relegation zone in this season as well. I thought this would be a chance for an experiment here because we were leading by 2-0 and we were in complete control. I had a game in midweek and I thought, okay, alright. Like I talked about earlier in today's episode, rest, recovery, so important. I made some changes early on into the second half and I decided to put Rodri Brown at left wing. Why is that? Well, I mentioned before, I want to transition him further up the pitch and make him next Gareth Bale. Yep, no doubt about it. He's got the quality and he's got the pace and the finishing touch as well. Yep, he scored 2 goals from the left wing position. Okay, the first was a cutback to be fair, but the second one rounding the goalkeeper there. And this season, his best year ever for returns in terms of goals. 6 goals in 20 games in the Premier League. He's chipped in with 5 assists as well. Now, you'll notice up to 77 overall. He's 20 years old now. He's still on the balanced development plan. And you might wonder why I haven't changed it back to attacking wide back or inverted wing back or whatever. The reason why I've kept it on balance is very simple. The shooting stats are basically impossible to increase unless you keep the player on the balanced development plan. Yeah, they won't increase because the attribute increases will be in other areas. So I love development plans. I think they're fantastic. But for Rodri's sake, because we want to turn him into a winger, having him even on the attacking wing-back development plan will be detrimental to his attacking ability when going forward. Ironically, because it won't improve his finishing, it won't improve his attacking positioning. Those will get stuck. Those will stay on the stats they are right now. The only way I can improve those is keeping him on balance. So, yeah, balance might lead to slower growth, but it does obviously, naturally, clues in the name, spread the growth of the player out in a more balanced fashion. But also, for Rodri's sake, because you want to push him up further up the pitch as the years go by, it's the only way I can make him a better finisher. Because if I put him on attacking wing back, for example, I won't be able to improve the finishing or the shot power or the long shots. Actually, long shots, I think long shots does, but not attacking position or finishing either. So yeah, that's why at the moment he remains unbalanced, even though it is leading to slower growth. Because if I wanted to keep him a left wing back, I just put him on a defensive wing back and turn him into a monster on the defensive end. But right now, of course, our plans are for the future to turn Rodri in to the next Gareth Bale. So following game, Brentford at home in midweek. Obviously we beat them in the first game of today's episode, so this will be the reverse fixture at the City ground here, but this was unlike the episode opener today, yet we were pegged back twice in the game. Whilst I was dominating for the most part, I just couldn't keep the ball out of the back of my own net. I surrendered 2 leads in the game. It was 2-2, 5 minutes on the clock, one final chance to win it and keep the winning streak going, and oh man, you love to see it. 3.5 minutes on the clock. Doesn't it feel great when you make a tactical switch or you just make a personnel change and it's the boys off the bench to get the job done for you? Yeah, brought on Alex Mighton and Dominic Solanke. Went to a 4-1-2-1-2 diamond wide directly after Brentford leveled for the second time in the game. And Solanke, with his first of the season, pops up with a game winner from 3 yards out. It feels so good, doesn't it? When you make a tactical switch and it works out perfectly. Mighton across, Dominic could not miss. Not a bad time to get your first goal of the season there. Game winner against the Bees as we win it by 3-2. I would have been fuming had I not won that game, man. Seriously, I absolutely dominated in that one. Thankfully, bailed out right to death, and the winning run extends to 8 games in all competitions. Question is, could we keep it going? Well, following the win, as you will see, we had a bid here for Nico Williams, another bid for our right back. He's been in hot demand over the past couple of years, man, Nico Williams. But I've got to say, like I've definitely, no doubt about it, got much more favouritism towards Matty Cash, obviously out of the academy, and he's done really well since coming on a free transfer. But Nico Williams, he was on the fringes here, and even got loaned out to Everton back in season 2, I think it was. But this is one thing I will give props to EA for. You know, we criticise EA at times, but I'm very fair with EA. You know, I've mentioned before, I'm very, very fair. I'll criticise them when they deserve criticising, but I'll praise them when they deserve praise as well. The loan system has really improved. It still needs working on, don't get me wrong, it still needs working on, because the destinations you can loan your players at times is very unrealistic. But you know, I mean, how many times are you trying to loan out, like, as a Premier League team, one of your youngsters, and you can't get any loan offers from, like, League 1 or League 2, but, yeah, the Swiss second tier, yeah, sure, okay, I'll loan him there, but, and I know it's a joke, there's no Swiss second tier in FIFA, but even so, you know, the loan system has improved a little bit, because players do develop a lot better on loan now. Nico has come back, and from being on the fringes here, is now a backup, and does start, to be fair, quite a lot of my midweek and cup games as well. He didn't start this one, though, at home to Watford. FA Cup 4th round, taking on the Championship sides right now in the playoffs, and won the game by 2-1, lost a clean sheet in stoppage time, but Taiwo with a brace in the first half ensured we would get the win. Did you see that second goal? I've said there were some nice goals today. I didn't even know what he did when I watched it first time round. I had to watch it on the replay. That was ludicrous technique. I mean, that was like a scissor kick, acrobatic, falling forward kick, if that makes sense. For those that listen to the videos and don't watch them, I can't describe it. You'd have to stop what you're doing, go back to this tab, and just rewind the video about 30 seconds and watch that goal. Because I can't even describe how he did that move there. It was like a sort of like a Paolo Di Canio-esque scissor kick, jumping forward, little bit of a swivel. It's so hard to describe that move there, but great goal regardless. 2-1 the final score, and we're into the FA Cup 5th round for the first time in the save. Can you believe that? This is our 4th season, and we've not made it past the 4th round until now. That's unbelievable, man. I mean, last year in FIFA, I was like a cup king. I seem to win a domestic cup every single year. This year, it's my first time I've got to the last 16. Unbelievable. Anyway, final game of this episode, 10th and final one, and the final one of January as well. Could we make it a winning run in January, winning every single game and extending our winning run to double digits in all competitions? Taking on Leicester, Brendan Rodgers Foxes away at the King Power Stadium. I mentioned before, every time we face Leicester, it's a really, really good game. Our first game against them was at this very ground back in season 1. We lost it 5-2, I think it was, and the fans were singing "You're getting sacked in the morning." How different things have been since then. Yep, took the lead in the first half through you-know-who, Ivan Toney, back on the score sheet there, putting us in front by a goal, and then soon afterwards, well, there'd be my dynamic duo this year. Toney with 1, Curtis with the 2nd, and we lead by 2. 8 minutes to go for the break, a chance to make it 3. Rodri storms down the left-hand side, rolls it across, and Toney should have made it 3. Great save to be fair at the near post, we're still leading by 2, but to be honest here, never in any danger of throwing these points away and seeing our win streak end after 9 games. I was absolutely dominating and really should have wrapped this game up very quickly in the second half as well. Matty Cash hitting the woodwork, and Leicester would clear. So leading by 2. The only negative was this, Rodri Brown going down 5 minutes after the restart of an injury. You're always nervous when you see one of your heroes, one of your academy graduates hit the deck. Thankfully, though, he would soldier on, and it was just I think it was a 7-day injury for Rodri, so he'll be okay. 2 the final score, though, and that does mean it's a 100% episode today. 10 wins out of 10 games in all competitions, and our best run of form of this season. I talk about it when I do these milestones. I want the games to be good, I want to play good, I want to feel good, I want to score some nice goals, and I want to win some big games too. Yeah, pretty good episode for that. Winning at the Etihad, going top of the table, reaching the last 16 in the FA Cup for the first time in the save, scoring some sick goals, my biggest and best win of FIFA so far. Yeah, I was pretty pleased with how I did in today's episode, I'm not going to lie. So that would mean, as we get into transfer deadline day, while they make any changes, because right now Forest are clicking top of the table, last 16 in the Champions League and the FA Cup as well. Whilst we had 13 mil and did have some bids as well for Nico Williams, for Taiwo, I turned them down. Yep, these guys are staying here. Even though they are my bench boys, my backup brigade, they are staying right here. Lazio and Real Betis putting in bids for Taiwo, turned them both down. We had bids for Reece Oxford as well, and Milan wanted Nico Williams too, but all of those bids rejected on deadline day. Yes, we could have sold them for a profit and bought in someone else, but right now, why would I do that? 10-game winning run for Forest, top of the table, and last 16 of the Champions League and the FA Cup as well. One of our best runs of form of this season. Couldn't have happened at a better time, could it? So that will in today's episode of Career Mode, guys. I want to say a big thank you for watching today's episode. I really hope you have enjoyed it, and if you have, then please do drop a like. The special milestones, you know, when I do them, I love to make them. They do take a while to make, though, as I'm sure you could appreciate. So if you could leave a like, that's all I ask, guys. I really, really would appreciate it. But thank you so much for watching the episode and the whole save as a whole as well. We are 4.5 seasons in now. I'm still having an absolute blast with this save. It's been so fun to play. And I'm glad you guys seem to be enjoying it as well. So thank you for watching the 30-minute thank you special, guys. If you could leave a like, that's all I ask. I really, really would appreciate it. Much love to you all. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you for the next episode. Trying to stay top of the table and the first leg of our Champions League, last 16 as well. I need a breather. Very soon. I'll see you very soon, guys. Much love to you all.